absolutely. It's my favorite kind of talk.
Absolutely. So, when Grant did the Undercover Billionaire thing, how was it for you and the girls? Like, how did you manage on your side? I'm sure it was hard on him, but I can imagine as a wife and a mother that it was so much harder for you.
I'm so glad you recognize that. Yeah, it was really difficult because Grant was having a really hard time. He was struggling. I was pretty much the reason why he did the show to begin with. He really didn't want to do the show, and I convinced him that it was the right thing to do because I thought it would be a good opportunity for him to go back to kind of his roots and kind of like give those old wins back to himself, but more importantly, it would give him an opportunity to get in front of an audience who might not be on the social media platforms, an opportunity to see and to learn from him. And as his biggest fan, I think his data is just invaluable. It's so important and life-changing, and I've seen it firsthand with myself and with so many other people that he's influenced. So I convinced him to do the show, which he was pretty resentful for, and now he shows up in Pueblo, Colorado without... And it was difficult for him because he couldn't use his resources or his assets, right? And so he would be calling me every single night, really upset that he was convinced to do this, and I kept thinking for a second, maybe I made a mistake, because he would call me and then it would always end up where he'd hang up on me. Because he was so upset. And it was like night after night after night that this was happening. And finally, I just got really kind of wise to the situation, and because I kept trying to be this cheerleader, like, you can do this, and people need you, and you're so amazing, and your information's awesome. And I thought, okay, I'm gonna be this good wife cheerleader and get him through this. And every single time it was met with, you don't understand, click. So that's when I got smart, and I said, okay, next time he calls, and I wrote down on a piece of paper a list of all the people, and it turned out to be a pretty significant list of all the people that would have loved to have seen him fail, either from early on in his childhood or even to current times, or to people that we've run into challenges with, all the haters. And I just wrote all the names down, and so the next time he called, I just started saying, blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. First name, last name, first name, last name. By the time I had a list of about 20 people, but by the time I got to maybe the third or the fourth person, he went, okay, I got it. And he hung up on me again. But this time, his whole entire mind shifted, and he was really motivated to win in spite of all the haters. So we were able to kind of course correct him. Now, in terms of on my side of things, because he was going through so much, he didn't have his children, he didn't have his wife, his resources to the office, to this, he was struggling. I felt like I couldn't then burden him with everything that I'm going through. So, and there was a lot going on at that time. Well, first of all, he was away, and there's life and about a million things that come at me every single day. Not that I'm complaining, but it's just part of the reality that is our life. And then, so he goes to Pueblo, and then he comes back, and we have the COVID situation, so the show gets shut down. He comes back home for a brief period of time, and that period of time, it became even more difficult because as a business owner, when COVID happened and the world shut down, it exposed massive vulnerabilities in our organization, primarily this one entire department, where we had to make Grant had to make a very important decision, and of course I supported that decision, but we had to let go. We chose to let go an entire division in our organization. Because we didn't know how long the problem was going to be, and we couldn't afford to bleed out. So we took a cut in employees. It was very painful for us, extremely painful. But it was a decision that we had to make in order to protect the whole of everything. We had to cut out, for lack of a better word, like the cancer area, and so we took a lot of heat from the public for that. A lot of people that don't own businesses and don't understand what it means to be a leader and to have to make very difficult decisions in order to protect the longevity and the livelihood of the entire organizations. And difficult choices have to be made. So we were under a lot of heat for that. And then there was this kind of joke that went out about him being bankrupt, which was him kind of doing a play on his experience at Undercover Billionaire, but then that blew up to this, oh, we're bankrupt, and it was a lot going on. It was really difficult with the people who still were at our organization, who were on a pay cut, by the way, who are now still having to try to sell Grant's products and services into companies, but there's all these rumors going around and uncertainty. It was a very difficult time, to say the least. I don't need to harp on it any more than I did. But he goes back into Undercover Billionaire, and we have all these stresses going on. And a lot of times, the stresses that are going on in the real world also affect the marriage. So 2020 was a very challenging year for our marriage. We pulled through. It was a very hard year. But in hindsight, I made a decision back then. I know he did. We made a decision we were going to pull out of that event bigger, badder, and better.
And look at you now. Look at them now.
And as a result, I kept saying, I'm going to make everything that we've ever done look like child's play in comparison. So we've been on a nonstop mission ever since. By the way, we've already hired back double and I think almost triple at this point the amount of people that we've let go, we've rehired back in the offices. So it feels good when you get to come back together and have wins with your couple, with your partner in life. It kind of fortifies the love. We can trust each other to have each other's back, even when times are tough and there's things that I disagreed with and maneuvers that he did that I wouldn't have done that way. And, but regardless, it's a true testament to finding the one you trust and building an empire, because no matter what, with Grant, the good, the bad, ugly, I made that decision and that commitment to be with him through it all, through thick and thin, and then to come over on the other side and be such a massive win. Last year we hit Billy. We You will never have that for yourself, by the way. But anyway, wait, did somebody say something?
He didn't say, come on, girl.
What's up, my friend?
Come on now. So anyway, that was it. We all made it through, and I believe we're a stronger family today because of it.
That is awesome. And, we talk about couples and having the supporting spouse. Like, what is the biggest advice that you can give to another couple? Because y'all are a power couple. Like, how do you do it? How do you succeed as a power couple?
Well, it's not easy. We have a lot of systems into place. I can just give off a few tips that just come offhand. First of all, we made a decision years ago. I came up with this idea, and I wrote down on a piece of paper. On the left-hand column was all of my goals, okay? Because that's all I had never known my whole life was my goals. I never really thought about anybody else's goals, other than the fact that when I got together with Grant, I knew, because I was an actress, I was a model, and I had always felt like guys tried to kind of hold me back a little bit from that success for whatever reason. So I was never going to hold Grant back with his goals and his dreams, but they weren't really important to me. maybe the first 4 or 5 years of our marriage. Then I had this epiphany in 2008 when the economy collapsed back then. Hey, we need to really come together and work in a coordinated effort together to reach a heightened level of success, or we were going to lose everything. We were on the verge of losing it all in 2008 for real. Not in 2020, but in 2008. So I wrote down on the left-hand column my goals, and then on the right column is Grant's goals, and he was going to write down all of his goals. And in the middle column, I wanted to write down what is our goals as a couple, because I had never thought about that before. Like, it was only about me, like, but what are our goals? So that we can be together working towards a common goal. And one of those goals that I put on there, and I didn't feel at the time we were a power couple, and it really felt uncomfortable to even write that down because it just sounded so like, oh, who does she think she is? She wants to be a power couple. You know, I don't know. Whatever those thoughts are that I had in my head, but I wrote it down. I was like, I want to be a power couple. We want to, you know, so anyway, I don't have to get into what we did, but we started really figuring out, and what I learned from all of that when we wrote our goals together, that we had targets to go after together, you know? And then I had the realization that my goals, as important as I've always thought that my goals, the importance of me achieving those were to make me better and stronger. You talk about support, I'll come to that in a second. To make me better and stronger for being able to hit the middle goal, which is our goals, even better. So in the first column, mine, if they don't help me to do what we want to do, then it gets eliminated, you know? So it's really helped me stay focused and clear on keeping the main thing the main thing. The other thing that we do to operate and function well as a couple is we know what our roles are. So again, prior to 2008, when we were married, but we were each doing our own thing, we were fighting a lot. There was a lot of internal fighting. I was basically vying for a power position. I was 30 years old when I got married. I left New Orleans at 17. I was on my own. I knew no one when I went to Los Angeles. So from 17 to 30, I was this very strong, independent, powerful woman that was ingrained to never depend on a man, anyone really, but especially a man for anything. Now at 30, I find myself married, and for the first 4 years, I'm struggling with that new lifestyle. And then in 2008, I realized, you know, for whatever reason, the world was coming apart or whatever, I decided to trade in the acting career in order to trade up to this empire thing that at the time was just a vision. And I said, okay, if I'm going to get behind you and support you, because you, I mean, I had to get realistic. I had to get really clear and open and honest and leave ego aside. Grant had a better shot of actually having financial success than I. I was 35 in 2008, had my first child at 36, and I was pregnant, and when 2008 happened, I was pregnant with our first child. We were under a massive lawsuit, and there was no acting jobs in sight for me, so I know I wasn't going to be able to support the family. I've never been to college, like, I mean, what am I going to do? Like, let's get real. So I traded that in. I said, but you know, I have my superheroism, what turns out it's the support. I'm infrastructure, mindset, and support. And so I figured out if we could deli up our roles based on strengths and weaknesses, not based on male, female, but based on strengths and weaknesses, and I get to be the boss of A, B, and C department, and you get to be the boss of E, F, G department, then I'm going to trust you to run your division, and I can't bypass you and make a decision in your area. You get to make it whether I like it or not. But in these areas, I'm the boss, and you don't get to bypass. Well, what that did for us is it eliminated that power struggle because we were very clear as to what our roles are. And so, because I'm very, know your roles. So because I'm so, what's that?
Yeah, know your roles.
Know your roles. But because I'm so competitive with Grant and I wanted my department to be better than his, I started focusing so much on my departments to get them 10x, that I kind of stayed out of his business and he stayed out of my business, even though we were kind of in the business together. Do you understand? So that helped. And the third thing I'll say about power couples is, the support. The support goes both ways, but there may be times where it's uneven a little bit. In my case, I think it's a little uneven. I feel like I'm more in the support role than Grant is. He's out there, he's putting out the products, he's hammering, he's doing a lot. He's a star. He is a star. I'm not saying I'm not, but he's a star. And so one of the things that I can say to help people in a supporting role like myself is you have to be good with what you are and who you are and own and accept it. See, for me, what helped me is I looked up the word support. And the definition of the word support has several definitions. You can't make this up. One of them is to endure, tolerate. I don't know how hard it can be to maybe tolerate Grant Cardone. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Some of you out there, you entrepreneurs, you better know if you have somebody that is supporting you, being as awful as you are, you better be very grateful for them. Anyway, another definition of support is to bear the weight of. So I use the analogy, right? Like a structure of a home or an empire. You have to have these pillars, right? That are strong enough to bear the weight of something. So if I'm the support role and I'm this beam strong enough to bear the weight of a Grant Cardone and everything that comes along with that, wouldn't it make sense that I'm stronger than Grant Cardone? Another definition of support is to show active interest in the success of. So, and I think that's important for both sides, to show active interest in the success of. And lastly, for the couples out there, I have so many other things. I'm trying to just nail down one, but for the couples out there, not to compare yourself to what you think everything else is, like the picture is supposed to look like. I get asked all the time, what does work-life balance look like? And I think you're only asking me that because your life is in chaos and you think it's supposed to be smooth and like humana and everything's supposed to be perfect all the time. And maybe that is for somebody, but that you're not going to come to me for that. Like, I've just learned to accept that my life looks like my life looks, and I'm not complaining about it. It's just my life looks like a lot of pressure a lot of the time, and I'm okay with that because, as the saying goes, pressure makes diamonds. I'm in this lifetime to diamonds. I'm in this lifetime to be comfortable or to take it easy or to hang out on the beach. I have couples goals, I have my goals, I have purpose, and I don't know, I was probably going to say something else, but I feel like I'm talking too long.
I want to know, what drives you crazy about Grant? That drives you batshit crazy.
Oh my God, part of my role, one of my roles is I run PR on the family. I try to run PR on Grant. When he runs through the China shop and shit goes flying, it's me and Sherry freaking cleaning the place up and putting it back together. So, I don't want to say anything bad about him. It's just he's a lot. He's a handful, and sometimes that can be challenging, and it can be like, and sometimes I feel like, there's a little bit of an appreciation or whatever that word is, appreciativeness or whatever. But in the big scheme of things, Grant has used that in order to get where he's gotten, and not only for himself, but for us and for the family. So I understand. You see, that's another thing that I understand is that, it's, anyway, the thing I can say about Grant is that I can't expect him to be successful in one area and not be that way all the time. You know what I mean? Like, it used to drive me insane. I'll just tell you this one. It used to drive me insane that, like, on date night, okay, you know, date night, the girl is dressed up and she's in heels this big, and y'all are like, well, why do you wear those? I don't know, because we're women. I hate it, but we have to do it. But when we are like that, we walk slower, and Grant like will plow 20 feet ahead of me, and I'm like back there tickety, 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 tickety by myself, and usually other boyfriends of wives, or wives, husbands, or boyfriends are walking with me and their spouses while Grant's 10 million feet ahead of us. And, you know, and it used to bug me because I'm like, gosh, why can't I just have a guy that's romantic and wants to walk with me, and these other guys get manners, and why can't Grant have manners? And I wanted a Southern boy, and he's a Southern boy without manners. What is my love? This sucks. And then I realized, you know, like, Grant's on a mission in life, and he moves fast at everything, and it's not, I don't have to make things mean something personal about me. I don't have to make it mean that he doesn't love me, he's not in love with me. I don't have to attach all this other baloney to it. I just have to realize that's the way Grant goes through life. And I don't want to stop him from being Grant Cardone. I might not like it at times, but I don't get to pick and choose. It's like a little sacrifice phase, you know? It's like, I want the life that we have. I want Grant and I to be successful. I want him to be successful. By the way, I figured out in our marriage, for me, the definition of love isn't about turning off the TV and holding hands and proving that you love me by shutting off from the world, even though our couple's goal is to reach 8 billion people on planet Earth. But I'm going to make you shut that off to prove your love for me for this 1 hour. That to me isn't love. That might feel good, and I'm not saying I don't like those moments. I do. I'm a girl. But that's not what love is to me. Love, for me, is for when somebody helps me achieve my goals and my dreams. When I'm achieving my goals and my dreams, I love you more. So when I can help Grant achieve his goals and his dreams, I know that he is more in love with me. And that's the only thing I know about how we do us, is I might not look like everybody else, but I can't compare myself to anybody else because I don't have what everybody else has. And nobody knows what it's like to be a Grant, you know, and an Elena in a marriage. And to go get advice from like a girlfriend who has no idea, who's just gonna go in sympathy with me and make it harder for me to deal and be the support to endure and tolerate this man isn't gonna help me. So I seek my own counsel, and I just make it a rule. I just don't talk to anyone about my relationship unless it's my designated church member that I lost.
Well, you were just a badass. Like, you were so successful. You keep like climbing every single mountain, and you guys don't stop. Like, recently, you inspired me to become a realtor. And tell me about a little bit why you joined EXP.
Oh, you see, again, I'm glad you asked. So originally I joined EXP because I heard Grant, I overheard his phone conversation. We were in a car driving to the airport, and he was talking to Glenn Sanford, the founder of EXP. And so they were working out a deal where Grant was going to put his training on the EXP platform. And Glenn said, well, I don't know how this is going to work because you're not a licensed realtor and you're not with EXP. And Grant can't go become a licensed realtor because we do card up capital and fundraise, whatever. He's not going to go become it. But I heard Grant being really excited, right? I heard him being really excited, and you got to understand, as Grant's wife, I hear a lot of conversations. I rarely hear Grant be that excited. And you can imagine how many people want to do business with Grant. But I heard him excited, and that's when I raised my hand and I said, do you want me to get the real estate license? And so Grant says to Glenn, Can my wife get the real estate license? Well, Glenn lights up and goes, yes, that's brilliant. 62% of women are realtors and there's husband and wife teams. This is awesome. So here I am thinking, again, to quote your words, that I'm this badass wife doing what I always do, taking one for the team so the boys can do the deal. Another thing that's never going to get recognized, that I will never be known for, it's just what I do behind the scenes, right?
Hey,
Well,
tell your husband to quit texting me. I'm on a big meeting with this badass right now. He's texting me.
what's that? He's texting you?
Does he not know you're kind of a big deal right now?
Wait a minute, is he hearing me? Oh, jeez. So anyway, so to make a long story short, I got in because I was trying to help them do their deal. Then I learned about the model and the platform, and I said, this is something I'm 1,000,000% getting behind. And in true 10X fashion, now I've decided I'm going to grow the largest, most successful real estate team in the world. So we'll see. You know, I may go my first into this, or I come out somewhat successful. So we'll see.
I love that. And you guys are so successful on so many levels. Like, why don't you just stop and move to an island? Like, why do you, I'm serious. Like, you're
Because
amazing.
I will tell you why. I will tell you why we will not settle down and go sit on an island, because we would literally kill each other. Because you know what, you have to have your goals and your dreams that you're working on, you know? And when you play small and you don't have big goals and your big dreams, guess what your game becomes? Your game becomes fighting your partner because you have nothing else to do. So that's the big game in life. Like, oh, let me one up you and outwit you with, you know what I'm saying? I played those games. I still play those games. We're not perfect, but of course correct and self-adjust quicker now that I'm aware of it, you know? I want to play big games in life. I want to do big things. I don't want to, like, I don't know. I get in trouble when I'm bored, and I think Grant does too. It's like if I don't have a ton of action, you know, if I'm not working towards something, I'm gonna go make trouble. I'm gonna go find trouble, get in trouble. It's, you know, I need action. I need games, like fun games, not like ridiculous games like I'm gonna go cheat on you kind of games. That is not games I am interested in. I'm interested in games. A game is, hey, can this little girl who's just got her real estate license 10 months ago, who's still learning what to do, can this girl from New Orleans, Louisiana, who's never even been to college, can she actually create the largest, most successful real estate team in the world? Like, that's a game. That's a fun game. Can this girl from New Orleans, Louisiana actually restore the family dynamic to society and to the globe? That's a fun game to me. I'm interested in that. Can I, you know, restore the value of women to society? Like, that's a fun game to me. These are the games I'm interested in. And if I don't have games like that, my game's going to be like, how can I destroy Grant Cardone? And I guarantee you, I would be good at that game because I'm good at games. Put me on something, you know, for the good.
I love it. Oh, you're hilarious. We could have like a game night. The four of us, like that would be competitive as heck. We should do that.
Oh, wow, we're so competitive. Yeah, we have to win.
You are like so influential in so many ways. You know, people dream of having the opportunity to even just have 5 minutes with you or lunch with you. Who's somebody that, you know, you aspire to have lunch with?
God, this was the one question that I get asked sometimes. Like, who would you want? I need to come up with an answer for this. I don't know. Who would I want to hang out with? I don't know. Who would I want to pick their brain?
Me, I'm a good time.
Jenny Smith! I should have gone to college.
I'll forgive you, but now you have your answer. Well, I thought I'd open it up just if we have any questions. Do you have a couple more minutes, Elena?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm speaking. Okay.
One or two things. Elena, hi, it's Audrey. When you came in, when you got your realtor's license during the 10X challenge and you walked in, that was an amazing moment because it showed the real you. You were so excited and touched that you got that. But then all of us could see that. And you dominated that day on that 10X challenge when you walked in and did that. That was amazing. That was amazing. And I appreciate you doing that. The other thing I was going to ask you is if I could connect you with somebody in real estate in Dubai, perhaps females, would that help your team, or is that something, how international can you be with your team?
See this
We're-
10Xer? See this 10Xer? That's all they want to do is help each other out. I really love this whole thing y'all have created.
I miss what you said, Jenny, but we're not open in Dubai yet, but we're open in 23 countries and we're opening 5 every quarter. So that's definitely a contact I'd like to stay connected to so that we can be boots on the ground, ready to go day one when we do open in Dubai.
I'll do some background work right now and then we get started for you.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, my friend, it's Ken. How you doing, girl?
Hi, good, how are
It's
you?
good to see you. Hey, real quick, for the husbands in the audience, what can we do if our wife partner isn't as supportive as you are with Grant?
Send them to 10X Ladies. Send them to Build an Empire Mastermind. I'm really like, I'm not trying to promote this, but why not if I believe in my product, right? But I have what's called Build an Empire Mastermind. I have 4 of them a year. And they're really based on the 5 components of what is a 10X woman or person. But I really speak to the ladies, right? I have a soft spot in my heart. But you can't be, so the 5 pillars are this: mindset, business, finance, relationships, and lifestyle, which includes health and wellness. And the concept is you can't be 10X in health, but be failing in your relationships. And you can't be 10X in your relationships and be failing with business and finance, so they're all connected. How do we come together? I really host this 10X ladies to bring them into the fold, to get them into the Build an Empire Mastermind sort of bundle, because we come together to really support each other. We understand what we're going through, but really about living up to our own full potential and then being able to come home and really make a difference with our families, with our communities, with the globe, like just a heightened level of responsibility. And sometimes that can't come from you, unfortunately, because you're just too, it's easier. Grant will tell me some things and he thinks I don't listen. I do, I really do. I listen, I take notes, but there are times where he feels like he can tell me something and somebody else can tell me the exact same thing, but when they tell me, I'm like, oh my God, so-and-so told me blah, blah, blah. And he's like, I've been telling you that this whole time, but for some reason I listen to them and not him. So, and then the Build an Empire Masterminds, I have 4 a year. We just finished one on mindset. The next one's on the lifestyle. Anyway, it's a good way for you to get your mothers, your sisters, not that you have more than one mother, but your mother, your sister, your spouses, your girlfriends into this sort of 10X community in a way that's havable for them. And sometimes that's through me rather than through Grant. And that's really the whole reason I did 10X Ladies, was to find the women who gravitate towards me over Grant. But they get the fold so that we can all be in this community together. My agenda in all of this is that we as partners, whether it's husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, I don't really care. It's partners coming together to realize how to work together to reach a heightened level of success. Because going back to my story of thinking never depend on a man for anything, and that's the way I operated for so long, it was a mistake. I was cutting off my nose and spite my face because I thought I had to do everything myself or somehow I wasn't legitimate or something. And Grant says you can do anything, but you can't do everything. Well, imagine how much stronger you can be with the power of 2 than just you. So I've learned that coming together with somebody has helped me get further, and that's what I really want. I want to help other couples fast track their way to success. It starts with a mindset, just even being aware of such a thing as a couple's goal. Like that one concept alone could like change the dynamic of your relationship almost instantaneously, you know? So
Absolutely.
that's what I would say.
All
Well,
right.
get on my book.
I got Matthew here.
Elena, how are you?
He's
I'm
excited
good,
to talk to me.
It's so good to see you. Thanks for being here today. We really, really appreciate it. You know,
Absolutely.
one of the big topics we've been talking about today is definitely family. And I know one of the things that was attracted me to Grant within, the first two hours of conversations with him was how important family is to him, how important family is to you, and what a priority that is. Give some advice on family first and how you juggle and making sure that your family is always your priority.
Family is not always my priority, just so you know. Family is first and family is number one. Like, if it's in a do or die situation, I'm picking my family. If my family there's an emergency, like I'm dropping everything. So in that regards, family is first. But in all regards, that is not true. Okay, so I'm a master juggler. I can't, and I can juggle chainsaws and tennis balls and ping pong and basketballs. You know, when the people have like the million going up, well, what gets my attention is the one that's landing in my hand at that time. That's how I deal with it. And the one at the top might have to suffer, have a little bit of sacrifice until it's turned to come down to my hand. So I know personally when I have neglected the children for a few days at a time or a week at a time or whatever the case may be, I can see it in their behavior. I can see it with themselves. I can feel it. I'm a mom. I know when I haven't been there. And then that becomes the number one priority involved that I have to pay attention to while my work stuff and all the people that are, harping on me. Well, you never have time for me. I'm like, get in line. You're like number 115 at this point. Take a ticket. But so in that moment, I know, okay, the kids take priority right now. Okay. And then I get them up and running and great and everything's, that thing's good. Yeah. Now it's work and I have to deal with the work. Well, when the kid comes over, when I know I have had the quality time and we're good, but the kid comes over because they're bored and want my attention, it's not family first at that time. It's work first. And that's when I have to know that I don't have to do everything myself and I can delegate and have a person, a nanny, a babysitter, a driver, whomever, to have the child taken to the gymnastics or entertained or go cook with them. Like, I don't have to do everything with my kid 24/7, but you have to know for yourself, when is it a liability for you? When are you in danger of, letting, like part of one of my roles is I want to be a really good mom. I think the most important job on this planet is to rear productive, contributing members of society. That's your children. When you can raise them to turn into that product, I think it's the most important job. I think it's more important than Grant's job. Like, that is how we on-go the human race and society. So, it bothers me when I hear women say, oh, I'm just a mom, like the just before the mom. I'm like, wait, I'm sorry. You must have roll on the, but you're just the. So yes. So again, I don't want to over talk it, but it's about you knowing when you have to do your job and your role that you chose as a mother or a father and put in that time. And then when can you do your work time? Whether you experience the mom guilt or not, that's on you. I do, but I don't care. Like, I also have to achieve my goals and my dreams, and that's important to me. And I let the children know, this is what I'm doing. When you let me do work and be on Zooms or do my conferences for 2 days at a time, when you are doing that, you're not only helping me live out my goals and my dreams, but you're actually helping the people in the audience that may have heard something that transformed their life. You're helping them because my attention gets to be on them and not pulled onto you. Therefore, I can give my all to them. that in effect is you helping. I asked Sabrina and Scarlett, would you agree with that? See, that goes back to the point I was saying. I thought I had to do everything on my own, but I didn't realize that inadvertently I can also contribute and help. You know, that is what power is. The people who are most in power aren't actually doing the physical labor, by the way. You know, power is the capacity or the ability to influence the behavior of others. So most people in power are delegating the jobs to other people. That is the power. So there you go.
I'd like to ask you a question.
So, lady, we haven't met yet, but someday we will.
Someday we'll what?
Someday we will meet, since we haven't met yet. But what I wanted to say was, a big takeaway from what you had provided to the audience here, for me, is getting on the same page with my wife. We're going on 10 years this spring. It's almost like we've lived together 25 years with everything we've gone. So something I learned from your husband is religiously writing down my goals, my big goals every morning. And I do that. And amazing in the last 2 months how those 20 goals will probably be achieved this year, which is amazing. She has her goals. And as much as we hear each other, we're not listening to one another. So when I get back home, we're going to be sitting down and creating that third column, that other pillar, because that's not my wife, but she's my life partner, and that's what I partner with to manifest what we want. So thank you for that. I just want to say thank you. And
Right.
a lot of good insight and advice and inspiration. Thank you.
Do you have time for one more question?
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
Okay, one quick question from RJ.
What's up? All right,
Hey!
question for you. We're gonna go back to talking about Grant being competitive. So I know a guy who's competitive. It's Glenn Stearns. When is Grant and Glenn going to convince Discovery to do season 1 versus season 2? I think you're gonna watch that.
I think season we would finish.
Come on, RJ.
Because you have your mic mute. You have your mic muted, I think, so I'm hearing it from the background, so I missed it.
All right, say that.
Oh, that might be worse, though.
I do have one more question for you. What does wake up mean to you?
Wake up means wake up. Wake up means like, wake up now. Okay, don't wake up on your deathbed looking back at your life and saying, I wish I would have risked more. I wish I would have done more. I wish I would have gone for it. Unfortunately, too many people wake up at these moments in their life, whether they become terminally ill or they're at the end of their life, they look back and contemplate, and that's when they wake up and but they're out of time at that point. So wake up to me means wake up. Figure out, what is your purpose? What do you want to do with your life? I feel like that what do you, Twisted Sister? What do you want to do with your life? But seriously, like, what do you want to do? Are you here just to occupy space for 80, 90 years? Or do you want to make a difference? And then if you want to make a difference, how big do you want to go? And how many lives do you want to affect? And can you make a difference for the better? And do you have the audacity to go for it? And, and if you don't think you can, why are you thinking so small? Who are you around that's putting those thoughts and those ideas in your head? Because you were born for greatness. You know that. We all know that in our heart. And so for you to withhold yourself from that and deprive others from experiencing your products, your services, your gift that you were put here to give, to withhold that is like a transgression against yourself. And it's, shameful, if you ask me. I'll be judgmental. And so wake up is like, wake up, share your gift, share you with the world, get out there, make yourself known and make a difference for the better and leave this place in a better condition because you were here.
Absolutely. Dixie? Look, she's on the stage. You need to start bringing Cash and Coke to your events because, I mean, Dixie and Layla have been a hit.
Wow, that is a hit. What a surprise. Look at it. As an actress for many years, and they would always tell you, you never want to share screen time with a child or an animal. They will always steal the show. It's a little actress tip for you.
Okay, well, maybe next time we won't have them here, but, we hope, Matt and I hope, doing Wake Up, we have made you and Grant proud. You've just been huge influences in our lives. We're so blessed that, we've been part of this chapter with y'all. So thank you. Give it up for the Queen.